We're focused on ensuring that families understand the difference between behavioral health and mental health.
Being able to see the changes, being able to work with kiddos where there was no language, and then further down the path, they're speaking, there's language.
Welcome to 360 Conversations, and I'm your host, Harry Jackson, CEO and founder of 360 Human Services. 360 Human Services is a behavioral health organization providing behavioral health services to children with autism and related disabilities who reside in inner cities and rural communities. Today's podcast, 360 Conversations, we're focused on ensuring that families understand the difference between behavioral health and mental health, and behavioral health services versus mental health services. And how do behavioral health services and mental health services clinicians work together to benefit the families and the communities we serve? So let's get into it. So today I'm sitting here with two lovely clinicians, Yamile Gomez, board certified behavioral analyst. But Yamile is a mentor. Yamile is a BCBA, board certified behavioral analyst. She's also a consultant, and she works with 360 Human Services, running our CYBHI program, ensuring families gain access to behavioral health therapy. Dr. Mercedes Green is a Army veteran of 20 years. She's a LMFT. She's a clinical director. She's also a PhD, which I always give kudos to, a real PhD. And I want to thank both of you for being here on this podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what made you become a PhD? What made you create your practice, and a little bit about your practice, and how do you help families in the Inland Empire and across California?
That is indeed a complex question, Harry, but I'll roll with it. So yes, thank you for having me first. I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me here and sitting across from this beautiful young lady, Yamile. So I am Mercedes Denise Green. I do have my PhD, and I also license as a licensed marriage and family therapist. I own True Escape Marriage and Family Therapy in Spring Valley. We have 2 locations in Spring Valley and in Lancaster. I started advocating since I was a kid. I always helping out other people. I was either fighting for my brothers, my older brother, my younger brother, my cousins. I even wrote a whole article towards my high school because they disrespected my dad. I've been advocating my whole life. The reason that I think I wanted to actually go into counseling in itself, because as a drill sergeant in the military, working with a lot of the soldiers, I noticed that they had more behind them. They had more of a story behind them in terms of their family situation, and what brought them there. And just seeing how they would light up when they would finally understand who they were outside of their family, it just meant the world to me. And for me to be a part of that, right? Making these civilians become soldiers and get ready for war and whatnot and accomplish their goals for the military and make their family proud. And it made me want to work directly with them and with their families. And I could do that by becoming a counselor. In terms of your question in regards to True Escape, the reason why I opened True Escape, I do my research on everything anytime I have a business idea. And I did my research, and I noticed that a lot of people were graduating and they were passing the test and they were getting their license, but they were opening up in their homes. So they had no overhead, and they're doing telehealth therapy, which is great, very affordable. But I wanted to do something else. So I said, hey, you know what? If there's not a lot of in-person therapy practices out here, let me open up my own practice. I shot the idea to my husband. He was like, I'm on it. He was able to connect me to one of his friends. His friends immediately got me a place. We moved into the place in November of 2021. We actually opened our doors and got the furniture and everything in there January of 2022. And we've been rocking ever since. In terms of the programs that we offer to the community, I do a holistic view. So I don't just offer therapy services like mental health therapy and family therapy and group therapy. We also have contracts with San Bernardino County that San Bernardino County funds, and we just, do the groundwork. So we started off with 4 participants. We are now up to 70 with a wait list. We offer nutritional services to elders. A lot of the elder community, they're not able to get to the stores. Some of them, their families have forgot about them, right? So sometimes them connecting with my husband, the delivery driver, is the only connection that they get, right? We were able to connect nutritional services with mental wellness by telling them, hey, how you eat is very important to your mental wellness. They have, with depression, is connected a lot to obesity. Anxiety is connected to obesity. People eat and they eat the wrong things when they don't have access and resource to the right things, right? So we offer nutritional items, and then we also educate them through what's called a tuition class on the connection between nutrition and mental wellness. Additionally to that, we have an intergenerational program that is also funded by the San Bernardino County. In the same contract with that intergenerational program, we connect the youth to the elders. And they're able to join and do activities, and they eat, converse. We did a large program with one of the youth football teams out here in Victorville, the High Desert Rams. And they actually joined us at the Solstice Senior Living Center, and they were able to honor the veterans by giving them cards and interacting and talking to them. And it was just beautiful to see them light up by hearing the elders' stories, and then the elders light up from being honored. So I'm grateful to have a business where I can give back to the community, collaborate with a local ABA therapy program, and just, continue being myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we talk about businesses doing more than just one thing. We know you're a PhD. We know that your experience in the military somehow, obviously influenced the way you run your practice, which is very, very helpful. But I'm curious to what makes you actually go above and beyond? Because most practices might just start and just do therapy, but you're looking at different parts of the human life, and how do you get the community involved? How do you get kids involved? Where do you think that comes from, and what makes you continue to take that path?
That's a great question, Harry. The military actually got me there. So I think the military played a big part in helping me learn to trust myself and my own decisions. Once I got those leadership skills and stuff developed, I was able to connect that with the advocacy and my own experience in itself. I've been an intern. I've been in school. I've been an associate, right? I've also been poor. I've lived in a hotel, right? So some of the experiences that I've had, I can connect with the community and see that the community is going through the same thing that I did. Well, also, students are going through the same thing I did. When I went through school, you don't get paid for doing internship hours. I had 4 kids and a husband and a mortgage. And I'm going to communicate to my husband and say, hey, I'm about to go to school for 4 years. And at the end of that 4 years, I'm not going to get paid, right? So because I've had those experiences made me want to give back to the community. So they either don't have to experience it the same way, or they can experience it better than I did and have access to resources that I didn't have. And that goes for giving back to the community with the elder population. That goes for, giving mental health resources. That goes for offering internships, jobs so that they can get paid and still be able to see individuals in community and collect their hours.
What is the most rewarding part of this whole journey, owning your own practice, being in the community, being a mother, being a wife?
Is the feedback, the way that my kids look at me, knowing that their mom did it. And they know that if their mom did it, their dad did it. Like, you guys should be my husband. He's just as driven as me. So they have both of those in the same household. They know they can do it. Our daughter just graduated from high school. She's about to go to San Diego State University. And that's off of us. She's going to school for free because of the military, because her mom retired from the military. Her mom put that hours in the military, the 23 years in the military, she goes for free. Our son just signed an offer to a D1 division school in Oregon State, where he's going to be going for free to play what he loves to do in terms of football. So my biggest thing is the feedback that I get from my kids, the feedback that I get from the community, the feedback that I get from my staff when they're happy to work there. They're not stressed to work there. They know that their bills are going to get paid. They know that there's going to be food on their table. They don't have to come and think that the work environment is going to be so stressful. They don't want to be there. You know what I mean? Going on the computer, doing work hours, looking for jobs. Like, the feedback in itself to me is so beneficial because it tells me that I'm doing the right thing. And in the opposite as well, I look at the feedback if I'm not doing the right thing, so I know where to make the adjustment.
Yamile, let's talk about your journey. Before becoming a BCBA, a community leader, and a mentor, can you tell us a little bit about what led you to become a BCBA and what led you to want to be a mentor?
Yeah. So I would say I grew up in LA, so close to Watts, Compton area. So I did experience a lot of, things that children, should not experience. And I think, I guess the leading thing, I initially wanted to go into psychology. That was my initial plan. I do have an older brother that has bipolar disorder. So that's where my initial passion began. As I got older, I got my younger siblings that we adopted. They're my biological cousins. They are Five of them are diagnosed with autism and related disabilities. It's a total of 10 of us. Me and my older brother are my mom's biological children. And then my 8 younger siblings, they were adopted, which are my biological cousins. They had, really difficult experiences with their biological parents. And my parents are Mexican, right? So they only speak Spanish. So a lot of the advocacy, seeking services, going to IEPs, talking to therapists, talking to other BCBAs, I did that at a young age. So as early as middle school, I was advocating, I was supporting, I was, pushing for services that a lot of families, even now, a lot of the families that we service have a difficulty accessing. So that's where my passion and that's where my drive comes from, is being able to see both sides of, being somebody that receives the services while also providing the services, right? And then growing up and developing my skills as a BCBA, I had different experiences, right? We know ABA is such a young field, so mentorship, we're kind of like developing as we go. So a lot of my experiences were not the greatest experiences, like mentors that I had, not to say that they did a poor job, but it could have been better. There could have been more accountability. Like there's a lot of skills that I could have developed prior to, getting that title BCBA, where now you have to take on the world. So that's where my passion for mentorship also comes in, is I love to help and develop, early clinicians, people coming into the field, because that is oftentimes where we lose people that have the drive for, this field, whether it's mental health, whether it's behavioral health. A lot of our people get lost because they're missing that connection of, okay, I need somebody to guide me. I need someone to support me. So that's where my passion for mentorship comes. And that's where my passion for advocacy as well comes, is, I experienced it, and I would hate to know that I have, skills, I have knowledge that I can support somebody else as well to make an easier path, like Dr. Green said, like make that easier path for them as well.
A lot of times people come into the field of ABA and it is not as easy as they thought. Most people want to help children, right?
Yes.
They definitely want to do the work, but you have to have a certain type of personality that will make you stay in ABA, the field of ABA. What was your eye-opening moment to where you knew this was the field that you're going to stay in, and what made you stay?
So I started within the field as an actual provider back in 2017. I had experience with the field as early as middle school because my siblings were receiving ABA services, right? So I saw the difficulty in people coming to my house, dealing with behaviors, and I could tell, like, at moments they would get really frustrated because they're like, oh my God, what do I do in this situation, right? So that was my first, like, oh, this is like not fun. And then as I started providing services, right, in 2017, one of the first kiddos that I worked with was very severe behaviors. And I think at that point I kind of was questioning my own path, because I was like, oh my God, this is hard. Right. But then being able to see the changes, being able to work with kiddos where there was no language, and then further down the path, there's language, right? Where we're working with kids that have such severe behaviors that you can't even have a response. Like there's no, like, we're trying to target certain skills and we can't target them because a behavior is impeding that. Right. And when we're able to work and see that shift of, like, there was behaviors, now we can actually work on requesting access. We can work on, those independent living skills, those, like, initial skills that are necessary for a lot of our kiddos. I think those were like my, aha moments of, like, okay, like there is, the science does work.
Yes.
And we're not just like talking about things and reading articles. I can actually like do the work and see the change. And I guess that was my kind of like, okay, this is cool. This works. This actually can make a change. So yeah.
So, to circle back to your mentorship and, how you feel mentorship is important in the field of ABA, you have a mentorship program. And my question will be is, what do you hope that your mentorship program will accomplish within the field?
There's a lot of like mentorship programs, right? So there's mentorship programs that focus on like skill development, pre-BCBA stuff, like, let's help you study and develop the skills so you can sit for the exam. But I would say with my experience in the last couple of years of, being a clinician while also mentoring, while also, being at a director level, I think I was able to develop so many skills that we a lot of the times think that this is what directors should know without realizing that BCBAs should know a lot of these things. Like they should know the back end things. They should know how to manage not just client behaviors, but you are managing a group of people. You're not just managing, the clients, the parents. You have behavior technicians that you're working with. You have supervisors that you're working with, right? So my goal with, my mentorship program is not only to develop that clinical quality, but also like that leadership quality, because at the end of the day, we are leaders. We are the leaders that, the people we're mentoring and we're developing on a day-to-day basis, they look to us to decide, this is my future behavior. This is how I will respond in this situation. This is how I'm going to engage, right? And I think that's my goal with my mentorship program, is to really focus on not only creating that clinical quality, but also that leadership quality.